The one and only, it says on their logo. Well, they've got one. They need two, though, to go through to the semi-finals and reach the top 6 for a guaranteed prize pot of $1.2 million. And that's a minimum. We're into the draft for Game 2 between EHOME and TC.
Team Secret's turn to ban.
Secret is like having, they're removing the quad once more. I believe they did this as well in the last game.
Secret or Radiant and first pick?
Both the games, right? The last game they were first pick as well. Interesting. They opened with the Shadow Fiend.
That's that's very unusual.
It is, yeah.
Yep.
But I think between 2/3 and 75% of the games in this patch have been played.
So that means EHOME prefers Dire because they.
Yeah.
So now the Winter River ban is very smart, obviously, because they're going to force EHOME either to remove the Shadow Fiend and give them something else, so the Gyro or whatever they want to grab, or take the Shadow Fiend themselves. I mean, no, it's not going to happen. They're going to first pick SF and they won't have Winter River, and it was EHOME's main answer to it, apparently. I wouldn't surprise they first pick SF again.
Yeah.
So it was a good play from S4, you know, with the ban pick, you know, mind game. EHOME probably have something up their sleeves, you know. If they let it through and they decided to ban the Naga, or maybe they just got caught off guard, which could also happen.
Could be a like Gyro plus Dazzle this time around. No.
Oh wow.
That's okay. Team fight again, so they are very team fight centric focus once more with their heroes.
That is interesting. It's a very early Darkseer.
Yeah, certainly one of the signature heroes of ROTK throughout his career, but not a hero that we see too terribly much of.
I really like that Secret went for the same first pick. You know, I think it shows a lot of confidence, and that's definitely what they need. If you're a Secret fan, it's gotta feel good.
So, do you think that they will follow up with the same support, Dazzle once more?
Yeah. I think it's a good pick.
I think another option open to them is like, if they don't want a team fight versus EHOME, they can also just go back to their Wisp strats and just kind of split around the map. I think a big problem that they had last game was not being able to push out lanes and not scaling well. And with Tiny and Wisp, or Wisp +1, I think you eliminate both of those problems with one hero.
Wow.
Okay. That was quick.
Okay, so this is one of the more unusual drafts that you're going to see out of Secret. This will almost certainly be an Arteezy Anti-Mage, and then S4 taking over on the Shadow Fiend.
So if Secret wins that game, that means we're going to see later in this tournament some first pick Anti-Mage, which happened already at TI, but it's not the funniest thing ever because you get an Anti-Mage in every game. But I mean, it's very risky from them to pick Anti-Mage that early, because now EHOME can set up as much as they want. The only weakness EHOME has in their draft is that, you know, if you want to like go aggressively and Anti-Mage and pressure him, then you have a Darkseer safe lane, which isn't necessarily the best use you can do of Darkseer. Like, especially on the Dire side.
safe lane is pretty good. It's better than Radiant safe lane for sure.
Yeah, definitely. You're gonna farm the camps as well, but I don't feel like Darkseer is one of those heroes that's really good at safe laning.
No. Now, if you're picking Darkseer, to me, you want him solo against a dual laner, Charlie.
Yeah, you want him to pressure a bit. It's hard to say. That Anti-Mage pick probably surprised EHOME. Like, you must be surprised by this. It's very, very uncommon.
5 seconds remaining.
I still think they have to do something to pressure the AM. Like you talk about Darkseer, but Darkseer alone can't really stop the AM. AM is actually very decent in the lane against a Darkseer. You can always like get the spell shield early, and he can just blink and harass you with the mana break. So I think Anti-Mage is really fine with just one Darkseer alone in the lane. He should be able to free farm regardless, unless you bring more heroes in.
Even later on in the game, Darkseer is a very good mana void target.
Yeah. No, and I mean, Arteezy has played Anti-Mage, it looks like 7 times this year, and I mean, he's over 750 GPM average on the hero, just absolutely crazy.
And we haven't said it, but those are 2 Arteezy heroes, and they first picked 2 of those, so it's going to be an S for SF, I would assume. I don't think S4 is going to play Anti-Mage.
So what kind of pressure lanes are we looking at with Tusk out?
Undying, I think. Undying could be a good option here for them if they want to run dual lanes with the Darkseer.
Do you think they can just dodge it and then have a safe lane carry that's as strong as, if not stronger? Do you think Gyro +1 mid is good enough?
Depends on the whole lineup and what type of support heroes they have. And right now, EHOME has very strong lanes. They have Rubik plus Gyro. Their lanes are very strong, so if they do like Darkseer +1, any strong strength hero to disrupt the anti-mage's farm. The anti-mage can't really go anywhere else.
Turn to pick.
Yeah, I like the Rubik pick to deny it from Secret. That's definitely a Kuro hero. The Dazzle pick certainly expected. You'll see Puppey taking over that role.
Again, Secret's draft is, like, I mean, I'd say more balanced, but it still lacks a lot of disable for now. So their last picks are going to be very important. I don't think drafting something like a Spirit Breaker or Viper again will do them any good. I think it will. It's very scary. They need to have very balanced.
I think Ember could also be good, like because they don't have any
like this.
stuns, and there's Iron Shell plus Ember. That's usually something the Chinese teams favorite to go. It's pretty scary in the middle game if you don't have lockdowns against that.
So what do we think here for Secret's offlaner? I'd lean toward an Earthshaker, although Zai doesn't play that hero too terribly much.
There's still a Brood in the pool.
there's still Brood.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, but there's Daxia on EHOME side, which sort of discourages the Brood mana pick most of the time.
Especially also if you pick Brood AM, although it can be good later on in the game, you're kind of forcing your opponent to go aggressive when you have an AM. You're basically, you know, hurting your AM.
I mean, they do have the combination of the Dazzle plus the Brood, which is very strong. So they might be still thinking about setting up for the Brood, but EHOME definitely has answers for the Brood.
TA, so they're looking to pressure the SF. I think in that game, if EHOME manages to destroy SF somehow or really shut him down in the early phase, they're gonna do really good because first, like, they're gonna be able to pressure way more because AM is not gonna come online before minimum 20-25 minutes.
And they don't have to worry about taking the game late.
Yeah, exactly. And also SF is going to be looking to farm jungle because that's going to be the only, you know, like SF is going to take the safe farm and that's usually what AM wants to do. So it's going to make it really hard for Secret to, you know, balance their farming.
Yeah. So CTY's last game on TA was 12-2-11 at Mars TV against Empire, and that was against a Tiny Wisp from Empire. So very strong numbers on that hero.
This pick will determine more or less what Secret wants to do. I feel like it could be really hard to distributing the farm equally between the Shadow Fiend and the AM, and I would say Shadow Fiend would more or less might have to take a sacrifice, like he takes less priority and given more to the anti-mage, depending on how the game goes for them.
I still feel like you've got to have some kind of AoE control for your offlaner. Tidehunter doesn't make sense because you've got two heroes, even three, that can buy a BKB already on the side of EHOME. I still... Earthshaker, I feel, gets there earlier with this combo.
I think Shaker is a pretty good pick, indeed.
Shaker is more like Team5 focused as well. Like, I talk about having pressure against the anti-mage. Like, I think their lanes at the moment, they can still do, like, Undying still fits very well with their line.
EHOME or
for EHOME, they can do like Undying off lane plus Daxia, and Undying plus TAs. I personally like the combo a lot, the traps plus the tombstone.
And now they got rid of the Brood, which is good. So if they actually, like you mentioned, want to go for a dual lane, off lane, which they could also could, but that lane is not the weakest though. Like AM, Dazzle, Witch Doctor is still a strong lane.
Yeah, definitely. Still
now they can get away with the dual lane safe lane that's going to control whatever Zai plays. Brood was the only hero that could actually pressure, I think, Rubik, Gyro in a 1 versus 2 situation.
Yeah, definitely. Not even pressure. She can even win the lane by herself.
Undying is actually terrifying to me right now by EHOME. Is Spirit Breaker still good here for Zai, as in the last game?
I don't think it is. I think they need area control. I think something like Shaker, Magnus. It's hard to say. They need something very special.
Zai doesn't usually play either of those. He's more like, you know, an Axe, Bristle sort of a guy.
Bristle is like a space taker. I feel they need a space maker now because having Anti-Mage and Shadow Fiend, they can't afford to have a Bristle in their lineup.
Yeah,
I think it's
too slow.
It's too crowded. They need someone to make space.
I think it can be a pressure lane though, if you have like BB Dazzle.
Yeah, possible. That would be possible, but if you don't do very well in the laning phase, then it'll be very hard to distribute farm among the cores.
That is very interesting. Night Stalkers.
It'll still be something similar to the Undying plus Daxia, or like you have a strength core, a strength support that roams around, and having the silence is very strong against anti-mage.
You know, those three heroes together, like Templar, Night Stalker, and Dark, the chasing potential,
they
it's
just run at
insane.
you.
This is very scary. When you're playing a poor Dazzle, you know, in the middle of that, you have like Darcy running at you, Night Stalker running at you, and Templar.
10 seconds.
And you can't see anything.
How do you position yourself?
Yeah, and Witch Doctor and Dazzle is very vulnerable towards the Night Stalker this game. This is going to be very scary. If they can actually pull it off,
I mean, if the 4-position Night Stalker with early Ags is just so devastating.
I mean, it's not only that, you know.
Gyro, the mid-game damage output alone.
The Darkseid can go jungle and leave the lane towards the Night Stalker, so they have like some form of synergy as well between the lineup where Night Stalker would have a lane to go to and
I have to
set
say,
experience.
to me, that is again a flawless draft from RTK. It's very balanced. It makes a lot of sense. There's a lot of synergy.
Yep.
It's very good early game, late game. They have strong lanes.
The last pick is very difficult here for Secret.
It's quite
5
impressive.
seconds remaining.
They're down to 3 seconds. Goodness gracious.
And they used, I mean, that's really what they needed. They needed AoE control and they needed a bit of pressure in the lane, but it's not going to be an easy game for Zai's Axe for sure.
Right.
Okay, thank you very much. And we are heading into our second game of our second series of the day. The last quarterfinal of the upper bracket. Is it about to come to a premature end for Team Secret? We're about to find out. Let's go back to the commentary team.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're live here at Key Arena. I'm LD. I'm joined to my right by Blitz. Blitz, a lot we want to talk about here as the draft concludes. EHOME, very balanced, very versatile, leading 1-0 against Secret. I do want to follow up on what the analyst talked about, which was that EHOME prefers the Dire. That is true, but they not only prefer the Dire, they prefer it over first pick. They actually had selection in this game, and they still go Dire.
Yeah, on the flip side, we saw Secret. They had the option last game. Instead of first pick, they opted to go for the Radiant side, so both teams get what they want.
And I guess it brings to mind CDEC as well, another team who prioritizes Dire, and in some ways, it was something that was discussed yesterday, is it feels like maybe CDEC has influenced the way other teams are starting to pick and decide what they prioritize in the draft because they're just winning so much on that Dire side. And we're going to see it again here. And with that, the teams will get underway. Game 2 has begun. EHOME leading Secret 1-0. Secret, a loss here, puts them in the lower bracket, something I think that would really mess up most people who did a bracket before the event. So with that, let's talk a little bit more about a couple of the points that you brought up during the draft. The first thing that you mentioned was you feel like CTY has really matured a lot as a player.
Yeah, before he has a nickname that isn't all too flattering. It's the 6-minute god, but I mean, we saw in that last game, he struggled really hard in the laning phase. He had such a good start, getting a kill. He had the first bounty rune of the game, and Arteezy still manages to solo kill him in the lane. But after the 20-minute mark, it was all CTY. Once he gets that Bloodstone, leading the charge every single time, doing zips across the map, playing absolutely fearlessly, initiating and forcing those inopportune BKBs by Arteezy. It just shows the maturation of a great player.
Somewhere along the way, and who knows if it was ROTK, if it was Lanham or DDC, or perhaps someone else he played with, he had discipline instilled in him, because this is a player that would go on tilt when he started in Dota 2, and it's been true for a lot of the younger players as they rose through the scene. He actually left the game for a while. He was starting to play League of Legends, but man, he's back in a big way. We might have a rumble here off the bat. It's ZYF up in front, taking some initial harassment from Puppey, and 3 heroes are going to come in. They get off the Battle Hunger. Just really wanted to secure this route. It's CTY engaging, but the cast will bounce. Oh, this could be bad for EHOME off the bat. DDC, the body blocks from Zai. Very nicely done. The lift not going to save him. And Secret get right back to work, taking the first blood and grabbing the bounty rune there, although Arteezy did not get the bounty rune bottom. That was grabbed by RTK, who harassed him pretty heavily here to start, but Arteezy's got a lot of regen, 7 tangos and a salve, so he was ready to trade.
And I like this from Secret this game. They've actually given the mid lane back to S4, who's playing the Shadow Fiend, a hero I thought they were incredibly successful with, but I don't like to see S4 playing those mech carriers that naturally just sit in the back of the fight, don't really have playmaking potential. I feel like this is S4's role. This is how he won a TI. This is what they want to get back to. Giving him a hero that can just do a lot on the map.
Yeah, and it's a hero that has a nice kind of balance, as you're getting at. Not only can he scale with farm, but he doesn't really have to sit and farm. Once Shadow Fiend gets that first item, the treads maybe as well, he can start making plays, and then Arteezy can play the 4 protect one with Shadow Fiend more in a team fighting type role. So it is a more versatile opening. They are going to make a move here on Zai top lane though. Try to chase him at the same moment. There's also action bottom. It looks like Zai is taking heavy rocket barrage damage. RTK able to surge away in the bottom lane. Zai the man in danger. Puppey with the body blocks. Beautiful blocks, but he's going to take the rocket barrage instead. Oh, he played so well to almost save Zai, but unfortunately this is a gyrocopter, and that meant he was right there to take a hailstorm of rockets on round number 2.
Yeah, that's the strength of the gyrocopter, is that the rocket barrage might be one of the top 2 spells in the game at the early phase with just 1 or 2 levels. It has kill potential, which is pretty absurd, and that tells you why this gyrocopter is so favored, because pretty much any support pairing with the gyrocopter is successful. That's what allows you to see heroes like Dazzle picked up, where they're not typically the best laners. Same with the Night Stalker, but gyrocopter makes everything okay for your supports.
I gotta say, we've got some great signs here. I don't think I've ever been portrayed as kawaii, but this might be the first time.
Oh, the wow. We saw that guy. He has really sick hair.
Yeah, he does. He's got
really
amazing hair.
one.
He also has hair, which is more than some of us can say.
Wow, don't sell yourself. Don't sell period.
That was like the worst attempt to cover. You're like, there's nothing I can say
I
here.
only feel sort of bad for people with that hair. Because I'm friends with Ted.
I'm going to shave your head one night when you're not looking.
I'm okay with that.
Are you?
Yeah, it'll grow back.
Do you want to do it here live?
It does.
Well, we're back underway. It seems that'll have to wait for another day as Lanham takes a lot of tower shots on the way out. He's probably just going to have to go heal. They do get the kill. It forces his Fountain back, though, and Zai's going to be able to stick around in this lane, so he should get a little more space for experience. Look at the mid lane now. Now, this used to be an incredibly TA-favored matchup. There were some nerfs to the hero. There were some bugs fixed. CTY winning the lane so far slightly. He's 8-3, but it feels like nowadays the Shadow Fiends tend to do a lot better in this 1v1.
It is still a TA favorite matchup just because it's incredibly hard for the SF to get kill potential on her. And that's what you always want to look at as a mid laner. How can I kill him versus how can he kill me? It's really hard for the SF to get a solo kill, but with 2 traps, CTY could feasibly get a kill, and that's what you have to concern yourself with. And at the same time, SF's weakness is that he can't really CS in the early game, but S4 is doing a really good job of keeping up.
S4 will get the rune bottom, courtesy of Kuroki's rotation, but it was RTK putting a lot of pressure there. Has hit level 2, no stacking just yet for the Darkseer, nor for the Shadow Fiend, but you got to imagine between those two plus the Anti-Mage, even the TA, I mean, there's 4 heroes in this game that can definitely benefit from jungle stacks across the map, so I wouldn't be surprised to see the support start working on that soon. Arteezy with an aggressive blink in bottom. A matchup, I remember Black used to play this matchup a lot, and he felt like it's a matchup that Anti-Mage should really be able to dominate if he can get aggressive from level 1. Just walk up to him, mana burn, you trade your HP regen, but you get rid of all of the Darkseer's mana. But this time they didn't have a support here when the lane started. So RTK's already hit level 3, he's almost got his soul ring, having more space than what you normally would get.
As you said, that he did exactly what you wanted. He blinks forward aggressively on him, already getting 2 levels of the mana break just to get aggressive, and Arteezy doing a good job of not needing any real supports, but in Secret, they're kind of showing their hand there. They're saying to themselves, okay, if we're backed into a corner, game 2, you know, if we lose this, then we get dropped to the lower bracket. We're going to pick Arteezy, the Anti-Mage.
How much space do you see Secret getting in their jungle right now? They have a Shadow Fiend and an Axe who both really want to use that space, but there's a TA in this game. You can put traps in the camps. You can also ward block them. They have a Night Stalker who's a pretty aggressive roamer. Do you think EHOME's going to be able to get into the jungle and shut them down? Do you see them getting aggressive here in like the next 5 minutes?
I think during the second nighttime, it's going to be really crucial for them to get aggressive on the map everywhere. They just have to apply pressure. I actually felt like Secret, you know, they got their game plan off in the last game. They were able to apply pressure. They got aggressive in the jungle. It just took that one terrible fight where they have track, you've got a Storm with the Bloodstone, but those things don't exist this game, and I feel like EHOME kind of read their strategy correctly this game as well, and they're saying, okay, we have to apply pressure, we can't just let Secret get comfortable, take our own jungle, and then slowly just kind of throttle us to death. We have to get aggressive, we have to pick a lineup that's just going to run at them, and I feel like that's what they have here.
One thing also worth mentioning is they did not have a very good Roche lineup last game. They ultimately got the Medine, and they took Roche, but it wasn't like a lineup built for that. But this game, they have the Templar Assassin, something that CDEC has also done quite a bit, where Shiki will play it. And I mean, CDEC, I think, more than EHOME, really value the early Roche, whereas EHOME will kind of take it as a part of the flow of the game when they feel like they have the space for it. But definitely something Secret have to keep in mind, and until they get the Blink Dagger and the Axe, not really going to be as good at creating pressure around the map. They are pretty farm dependent here until they get the Shadow Fiend mech and the Axe Blink.
Yeah, the Templar Assassin, there was a time period where we saw her picked all the time when she first came out.
She was even like first pick material.
Yeah, she was just a lane dominator with almost no equal, but as time went on, you kind of saw her relevance drop off, but I think the biggest change to her was just the fact that the Deso, the cost of it is so low, you can go for the immediate Roshan after you grab it. Just you and one other hero can pretty much do it, and once you're able to get a 15-minute Roshan as a result of that, she can just snowball, and her natural weakness is she can't really initiate for you. Once you have an Aegis, you can't really stop her from going in.
And she could do it so safely because of the traps as well. So you always have some vision, you have an idea where they are, and this is the analysts called it a run-at-you lineup, and it can be. It definitely can be. They've got Gyro. We've seen this hero going for aggressive ganks very often in the tournament. Night Stalker, great roamer. They have Ion Shell surge potential on TA. That's terrifying, to put it mildly. But they don't have to. They can also farm Ancients, they can farm the jungle, they can go for at least a decent late game. So it feels like a very flexible draft, and even if it goes late, you've got Darkseer versus Anti-Mage. Used to be very annoying to play against him with the wall, and still could be a threat here. Also, you can get the Shadow Fiend aura as well, so pretty irritating to play against.
For me, the onus is on EHOME's lineup to really get aggressive. Because
so you want to see them take the fight to see?
Yeah, they have to in the early game because, like I said last game, there's no real natural counters to Storm last game. Like, yeah, you've got the Bane's Fiend script, but that's in an ideal world.
Yeah.
But this game, the same exists for Arteezy's Anti-Mage. Lift is a terrible ability once the Anti-Mage has a Manta style. Same with that Silence from the Night Stalker. There's almost no hero on EHOME that's going to build disables. Maybe in the ultra late game, you'll see a Darkseer get a Hex. But more often than that, we'll see him get a Blink Dagger, the Mech, the Shiva's Garden. I actually think third item, he has to go for the Hex here because there's just no disables.
I mean, we saw what happens if you don't get that early lockdown on Anti-Mage earlier today in the EG Complexity match. I was talking to some of the players. Some felt that we could have seen an Orchid Rush from Swindle. Also a possibility for a second item, Scythe of Ices. We will unpause. We're going to get back underway now. Teams just needed a moment there. But it didn't have the lockdown, and Arteezy, it was a worse game to lock him down than this one. Like, they really had nothing on an Anti-Mage, but this game still isn't exceptional once he gets the Manta.
Yeah, it's going to really come down to how aggressive EHOME can get, and I think that's why they take the TA, just because they can go for the Roche and then play objective gaming, and I think that's how they have to play, because once that Anti-Mage gets maybe 3 items, there's no real peer for him in this game, and the Gyrocopter does an okay job of keeping up, but the split push game especially is going to be so hard for them to deal with.
Well, through the early laning stage, it looks like EHOME, their 2 main cores getting slightly more farm here, but at least as far as the Gyrocopter goes. But overall, the next wave of heroes on Secret doing a much better job of CSing, and as a result, they've already pulled ahead by 500 gold, closing in on 1,000 experience as we see Kuro walk down into the river, confidently going to place an Observer Ward on the high ground. That's a great ward to have. It's the first nighttime, and it's Lanham on the move. Puppey Tank going deep within the trees. He's created a little nest, but it's a trap, Puppey! Oh, he's just cornered himself in the end. EHOME with the big tower dive. They'll get some experience, and now the pressure going out immediately. You can see Arteezy starting to constantly hit creeps. Wants to counter push this bottom lane a little bit. They know Darkseer is likely not here because of that lane ward, and in fact, he's not. RTK off in the woods, trying to play the jungle game. So for now, the tower pressure early going the way of EHOME, and well, TP actually getting canceled. Secret really not going to be able to defend this tower at this point.
Yeah, but at the same time, this Gyrocopter isn't keeping up with Anti-Mage and farm. The Anti-Mage is miles ahead of anybody if you want to look at it that way. It's 34 CS in just 5 minutes.
It's 7 CS a minute. He's almost flawless here, and he's up against the Darkseer. You have to let it under your tower even at times, which can be very difficult. So, as you point out, Arteezy having a great start to this game.
And that's going to bode bad news for EHOME as they want to try to get aggressive as fast as they can. CTY is about to pick up that level 6, which he does. And he's going to try to look for opportunities on S4, but S4 is just playing the patient game. He's forcing out the lane as fast as he can and making it really difficult. It's what CTY wants in an ideal world. You want a decent creep advantage, so the S, there's nothing that can just break your refract. If you right-click the SF in the middle of a creep wave, you're just going to get right-clicked back.
Here's the smoke, and let's see where they head. Kuroki moving towards mid. RTK, I think, getting nervous. They don't have vision on the enemy supports right now. In fact, the wards that they have really only see the lanes, and there's nobody laning top. Only S4 currently visible on the map. Kuroki wraps around towards mid. He gets the lane ward down, if nothing else, getting them some vision as well. RTK looking for the ancient stacks. Kuro may run into him, but he's alone for now. He needs backup if he wants to get this kill. The ping's coming out. They're going to try to close the gap. RTK even surges forward, and it's right into a cask. Oh, the aggression. It might be too much. The cast not bouncing back. Can he get the neutral tonight? RTK, he wants it, but S4 says no. Shuts the door and takes down RTK, and that was a level 5 Darkseer at 6 minutes. Pretty high level of experience, and well, 300 experience swing the other way.
Yeah, and it just makes it even easier for S4 to lane against the Templar Assassin mid. He's not even doing a bad job. He doesn't really have any more jungle stands to go back on, but it is naturally harder for the TA to go for that. She can eventually rely on this ancient stack, but as you saw, I mean...
Oh, they're going on mid. S4 in trouble. There's the meld strike. They have it in the background. Puppey looking to hang on for now. They'll let CTY take the tower. Does he get another trap and go for this? He decides it's too risky. DDC was wrapping around as well, but they keep S4 healthy. They're going to get a sentry down in the lane once again. The raises forcing the wave out, and buying us for the time he needs to heal up, but not to be deterred. This is something we've seen more and more as the tournament goes on. The aggressive moves from Gyrocopter. ZYF deep behind enemy lines of S4 stops for this camp. Oh,
he's gonna actually run
no! S4, they came from behind! Oh, ZYF making the plays. This is how Secret normally play. They really push it to the limit with their farm advantage. We saw it a lot through the group stage, but EHOME have been reading that, and they're looking to punish it, and now they want Puppey. Graves about to cool down here, but he's so much on his own. Even if he gets the Grave off, he won't. CTY looks to lop his head off, but it's actually DDC, the man to get the last hit.
It's that ward down here that isn't in vision of the sentry. Secret just naturally assumed if there was going to be a ward, it'd be on top of this cliff. It's just out of range. They just spotted him all the way through.
Or even more in the middle of the lane. You've got the sentry there as well, but both sentries just missing. And they're chasing a bit for more. Uh-oh, Kuro in danger here. The cast bouncing. Beautiful bounces from Kuro, but a follow-up trap, and they continue pursuit. In comes the anti-mage. RTK fairly low on Monty. He's going to surge his way forward. Still healthy in terms of HP, and they silence RTZ. Can they focus some time? 5 seconds to go. The Grave, I don't know if it's enough. He runs the other way. Last auto attack, and they get him to blink. He makes it. RTZ survives. They surge. No vacuum. And now the turn. S4 marching back in.
He's got the move speed advantage.
There's the casket. It's going to bounce once to CTY. That's all they need for DDC. One more auto attack. They pound him down. ROTK also forced to run. Secret bouncing right back. They could have gone for an easier support kill, but they thought they had the bigger one. That juicy anti-mage and the well-timed Grave and the Blink just cooling down. EHOME, they get thwarted in their effort for the bigger kill.
And that was perfectly timed, and if they had been successful with that, they could have denied Arteezy a lot of time, could have made it incredibly hard for him to get back into the jungle, but with that play, all of Secret rotating down just to be able to protect their anti-mage and that jungle. The Grave was perfectly timed. Arteezy waited out that blink for as long as he possibly could, managed to TP out at the last second instead of just running away, which I think was the correct decision. But CTY is going to do some...
they want S4 now. This one's going to be hard to escape from. Call down hits him once. He turns for the raise. He does bring RTK to a 3rd HP, but that's not enough for the kill. EHOME. Again, the Gyrocopter really showing his flexibility here, Blitz. He can do it all. He can farm the stacks, he can pressure towers way earlier than a hero like Anti-Mage, and he can also take these fights, giving CTY time to clear out the Ancients, and the Radiant squad actually had vision of this, but they just don't feel like they have the levels or items they need to engage. The big one that it's going to be a while, and the analyst mentioned that this would be a hard game for Zai. It really hasn't been a great one so far. He's level 6, but the Blink's still 1,600 gold away, and without that, it's tough for Secret to initiate.
Yeah, what they're waiting right now is on EHOME to overextend like they did at that bottom push where they can catch them out, run them down, but I mean, that does rely on EHOME getting over-aggressive, and it's hard for Secret to really catch anybody out pre-Blink Dagger Axe. I think that's kind of the weakness of their lineup. They have a lot of counter initiation, but their initiation game is incredibly weak, but they are putting a lot on Arteezy right now. Because if this anti-mage gets incredibly farmed, they realize the type of position they're in. They can just play the split push game.
He's done it before. He really has. We've seen a lot of impressive anti-mage games out of Arteezy, and I would say it's probably the hero he played the most coming into TI as well in pub, so definitely something he's been practicing and expecting to use quite a bit here.
Yeah, he ran into me in like 30 pub games or something like that. Something absurd when I was on my Smurf. Well, every single game was anti-mage.
That is what you get for being a dirty Storm picker.
What a great hero counter. Press one button, kill Storm.
Lol.
Great stuff, Arteezy.
Wow.
No salt here.
Yeah, you're so salty. It's coming out of your pores, my friend.
We just flame each other now whenever we pick heroes.
Yeah. Well, you're hero pickers, so you both
You gotta be a random player nowadays to get respect.
Yeah. And even then, if you random a good hero, you lose the respect. You have to random bad heroes.
I just happen to random Storm a lot, but EHOME right now trying to put pressure on this mid tower. CTY here by himself. Kuro's gonna go for the
casket. It's not gonna bounce at all though, and with that, any chance of a kill is gone. And it's about to be, it's closing in on that next nighttime. May see some moves coming out from EHOME. You can already see the more aggressive trap placement in conjunction with these wards, and actually a very unique one in the trees here near the Radiant Tower mid. Not something you see often, but that's a cool trap to see a support trying to back somebody up. And as you said, Secret, they want EHOME to come to them. And what do you know? EHOME are coming to them, but will this end the way they're hoping? That's the question that remains to be seen.
Yeah, and one of their crucial disables, maybe their only real disable, DDC, is at this top lane right now. And It's not easy.
He wants his level 6. He really does. There's the trap coming in mid that denies there. S4 with a good start to the fight. TP's going to come, but Calldown was ready for this. Arteezy runs away. It only connects on Kuro, and now they pound it inside with the Rocket Barrage. Almost half his health gone. Lanham surrounded, though, in between two. Not that tanky anymore. Even Arteezy going to get involved, but this leaves S4 to the Wolves. There's the Grave. Well placed. A cast that bounces beautifully. The wall zoning some of Secret back, but Arteezy rushes in. He tanks the Rocket Barrage. He's got to blink away, and blinks to the south. That leaves Zai to be left for dead, and he'll be collected in the end by CTY. But oh, they found Kuro. He's way in deep. He does have a teleport scroll. Lift is ready, and they've also stolen the cast. They've got 2 ways to stop the TP. They'll start with the lift, and that's all they need. EHOME, it just feels like they're the stronger fighting lineup right now. A pretty decent engagement from Secret, but just didn't have the firepower.
Yeah, this is not where Secret's game is strong right now. They have to just get Arteezy that Battle Fury so he can decide to split push, but right now, EHOME, they're perfectly content with taking that trade. Even with losing that Night Stalker in the early game, they're perfectly okay with that because it means that Secret are more willing to engage and commit to a fight, which is what they want. They have 0 disables. They've got the Rubik Lift, that's about it. So they have to have Secret, you know, Secret has to be a willing dance partner for EHOME to get anything done.
It's been a battle of vision really in both games, but this game, it feels like Secret is falling behind in the vision department here. They've only got 1 ward on the map, still every Dire Tower alive. The traps and deep wards continue to pile up, and you just toggle the Fog of War for EHOME, they see almost the entire Radiant Woods, and their own wood's a bit less vision there, but they've got the towers up, so they've got control, and now they'll grab another tower. They also get their own mech, this to match what S4 has. So when it comes to team fight, EHOME are ready to rumble. They're moving on towards mid. Arteezy looking for split push, but he's not the Shadow Fiend type of hero that can quickly bring down a tower. He's going to blink into the enemy woods and just wants to keep the farm up. He knows the Battle Fury is the key. Slow the game down and buy time, but guess what? There's vision. It's on Puppey, and swarming in is EHOME. They may even run into Arteezy here. He blinks out. Oh no, Arteezy, this could be a devastating retreat. Oh, just gets out of range of the call down. Can he make it out? Puppey, he'll be the man left behind for now. S4 not even going to try to help him. Death by the Fade Bolt. They still hold the level 4 paralyzing cast. Will they find Kuro? The TP out. He'll make it. No vision on him, but the pressure mounts bottom. Arteezy, oh, 43 HP. Now Kuro, even when they survive, it's only barely. He wants this Battle Fury, but the pressure on the map is there for EHOME.
Yeah, they've got wards in their own jungle. That sentry to follow up too. It's pretty surprising that they decided to place it there, but clearly it pays off because they know if they're pressuring Arteezy's jungle, he's just going to rotate to theirs. So they're placing wards in both sides of the jungle just to make sure that the Battle Fury is slowed down as much as possible. And even if he gets to the Battle Fury, they want to be able to pressure him and just force him out of whatever section of the map he feels comfortable in it. EHOME, they're going to start to get aggressive real soon because CTY just 200 gold off of that Desolator, and once he grabs that,
then Anti-Mage dies in those exchanges. He dies on probably 1 less hit. It's going to put even more pressure on Arteezy to be careful. Calldown will come top lane, and they go onto S4. Even through the mech, he may drop here. Requiem is baited out, and they beat a retreat with the Requiem down now. Opportunity may beckon for EHOME to move in even deeper. But you wanted to see pressure. They had a lineup that could rush in and put a lot of pressure on the map blitz, and we are seeing it through vision, through hero movements, through smokes, and again they're moving forward. Onto Kuro, back into the creeps. Cask is going to stop this. Maybe Zai can turn it around. He's looking for the call. He's almost got his blink. Can't quite find the opening. So we'll see Arteezy also forced back. Battle Fury calling his name, and he is going to get it along with the blink, but he's still got to farm that next item before he really comes online. In fact, they expect him to be at this camp, and Lanham is right about it. Arteezy silenced, quick TP out. What a reaction, but not enough! CTY slams the door with the Deso, and we see the Anti-Mage, not the most combat-worthy hero this early on. He's just not getting the space he's accustomed to. Now the blink forward side, trying to throw DDC back, throws at the Battle Hunger, he retreats, but oh, good luck, my friend. Calldown's there, maybe. Should take down to this. No, the painful. Don't tell me he lives. Don't tell me he lives. No mercy, he's dead. But that's just a Rubik.
It's not too big of a deal in Secret. They do respond and finally get something off the map, and Arteezy, he's still a little bit further than away from the Battle Fury than he wants to be, and EHOME showing themselves on the map just so CTY can go for the solo Roshan. Finds a really fortuitous DD rune at the same time, and this is going to be such a huge experience lead and farm lead for him.
And that's almost the blink as well, if he wants it.
And once he gets that blink, it's going to be a guessing game for Arteezy, because if he misplaces his blink, CTY is going to run you down and pretty much two-shot you.
And he still doesn't have the Battle Fury. And I mean, the issue is if you hold the blink, you start to lower your farming speed by a substantial amount.
At top, Zai's ready for this.
They're looking for the jump in. They've got the blink call. It's on to ZYF to go. The death ward to follow, but instantly canceled by RTK. Medical assistance has arrived, and they're going to turn it. EHOME now hunting for S4. The TPL will be canceled. No void. They got him. He's down as well. 3 crumble. ROTK, the man of the hour, saving his team and turning the fights. And Arteezy now, he'll be pushed off the lane. He's not going to be allowed to farm. He still doesn't have the Battle Fury. It's on its way now. Boy, he's going to have to dig deep if he wants to turn this back.
It's not even really the individual stars from EHOME that are really making a difference. It's their supports. This ward allowed them to see the Axe jump in. It's made such a huge impact. That's twice now that they've set up a gank using it. The first time they get Puppey. The second time they get 3 heroes out of Secret. And this ward, it's all about the vision nowadays, as you said earlier on in this game. And it made all the difference in the world because EHOME, they see that their gyrocopter is going to get initiated on. They instantly rotate 3 heroes to back them up. They correctly guess that Secret are going to get aggressive, and the turnaround potential for them was huge.
And it's such patient aggression. We see CTY melded bottom. He's very strong with an Aegis right now, but he doesn't immediately jump on Puppey. He waits until he walks close. He sees their support there from Zai, and then he backs. And that's really been the maturation process that you talked about, that he doesn't overcommit whether he's ahead or behind. He's a more calm player in general now. But Secret's turn. They want to make something happen. Puppey on the smoke. Maybe they get DDC here. There is a ward. Saw him walk by towards the Secret shop. He's found an interesting nook here to try and hide within.
Oh,
they know about that nook. DDC, welcome to your new home. It's called the Well. Zai with the dunk.
Yeah, finally Arteezy, finally finding that farm time. He's already almost level 12. He's finally got that Battle Fury. Once he gets his Vlads, he can pretty much stay on the map for as long as he wants. He can do the jungle camps. And I mean, we've been talking about EHOME all game, and yes, they have been playing a really dominant game, but you still don't really have the best counters for this anti-mage. You don't really have the best disables, only the Rubik Glyph. It doesn't last for very long. The Night Stalker silence is not an opportune silence. He can just man-hit it off every single time, and it's going to get hard for them to keep up with him.
And that's where EHOME want to keep it up. CTY's looking to do it bottom lane. He will press the tower forward and drop it pretty low in terms of HP, but Puppey pings it out. They'll rotate in S4. And it does need to be reiterated that their cores are farming. S4, neck and neck, in fact, surpassing again the Templar Assassin on EHOME. And Arteezy still the leader. The have-nots are the supports, though. Looking at Kuroki, normally one of the most farmed supports in the game, up there with AUI 2000. And he's doing a decent job, but this lineup needs a lot of space, especially for the 2 main cores. So it's going to come down here to positioning, it feels like. Puppey and Kuro, not quite as much to work with item-wise. They got to do it just with sheer savvy and veteran wit.
In all honesty, it's just the warding. ROTK, he has a gem that he picked up himself, so it's incredibly hard for Secret to keep up wards on the map. And so Secret, they're just playing behind their cores, kind of playing the guessing game like you said, whereas EHOME supports are pretty much willing to go wherever they want because they have full vision, they can wait for the counter initiations. They're playing with full information right now, whereas Kuro and Puppey, they're playing the guessing game. You saw at the top and here in this mid lane, they have no idea this is coming in.
They're going. They're onto S4. The back's there. The call down to follow. He's completely surrounded. Doesn't even get off a spell, but the grave. It allows for a Requiem to turn this. And onto RTK to go. The Death Lord keeps on going. CTY trapped in the trees. He's got to get out and help the team.
Oh,
they lose 2. Oh, the blink will cool down, but the damage is done. And Arteezy says, wonderful. I'm going to cut the wave top. This tower will be mine. So much space. A lot of it feels like it came down to CTY getting caught in the trees. They couldn't do anything for the whole Death Ward. Just such good placement and play by Secret there.
And the problem is for EHOME's lineup, it was like we talked about last game. The reason why we were talking as if EHOME always had a chance was because there was no natural counters to the Storm. It's the same thing for the anti-mage this game. And the disastrous thing for EHOME's lineup is they can't really make those mistakes. On paper, it's, okay, we traded 2 for 1, at least we got a core, but it's more like we committed 5 heroes to a fight, and the anti-mage was farming the entire time, and all we got was 1 hero.
And boy, is he farming. Suddenly it is up. He's still 30 CS up on his Templar Assassin, and now he's got a haster, and he's going to blink in mid, looking to clear out the waves, and the pressure just begins to mount. The tower, tier 1 still up mid and bottom. That's something Arteezy will definitely have his eyes on. Now moving towards the enemy ancients. Oh, this is a big stack. They can't allow him to take this. Is he going to chance it? You betcha. Onto the ancient stack he goes. RTK's in position on the high ground.
This is going to be
sees this. Arteezy, got to be careful. He's back into a silence. He can't blink. The greed, it costs him now. EHOME get just about every creep. Oh, they just saw him and they knew. They knew what he wanted. That really hurts the economy.
Arteezy thought if he sees the Night Stalker coming, he can just blink out, but it was that play by ROTK to drag him back with a vacuum, cancel the animation, unable to do anything as they're just flailing through the air.
And it's nighttime as well. The vision just isn't that great for an anti-mage.
Yeah, it was a huge high-risk, high-reward play, but EHOME completely punished him for it, and Arteezy can't afford to die like that because he's the only hero on the map that can go around and pressure like he is right now, but chancing it for that ancient stack wasn't enough, and CTY just continues to farm level 16, no BKB on him, decides to go for the Yasha, and this is a huge glass cannon build, but he already does nearly 200 a hit with the Deso.
Radiant's bottom tower
They don't have the best damage over time here. There's a level 1 battle hunger, no points in poison touch. So there is potential for TA to get a little more aggressive in the item build, it feels like. Secret, they're going to need to rely on the team fight. They got to take them down together. They can't try to fight the PA 101. Nobody's strong enough. Maybe your late game anti-mage can do it when you get to like an Abyssal Blade, Butterfly type of level of farm, but he's not there yet. But he goes back to what he was doing before he got picked off. Arteezy into the top lane, and the Secret game plan's pretty much going to continue the same way. Keep on pushing with the AM, hold with the other 3-4. S4, maybe poke your head out to hit a couple of creep waves. You may even have to rat it already into the trees. And EHOME, no, this is the game plan for Secret, and they've been mostly prepared so far, and they're just waiting for him to show his head. There's a lane ward here top. Secret, they've not seen anyone from EHOME just yet, but Arteezy is just biding his time. Now CTY will show himself. That alone is enough to discourage him. Are they thinking about a jump on CTY? This could be very bad for Secret. They're waiting. They're still waiting to get vision on somebody else. And they're not going to find it. CTY off into the jump. The rest of Secret do smoke, and they head towards top.
Oh, they're actually going to spawn him out. They're going to go for this as fast as they can, and this should be a kill for Secret.
Now CTY returns fire. Gem hits the deck. Sly tries to retreat with it. He survives with 10 HP. So low, but the turn. Arteezy also almost dead. There's a blink in 3 seconds. Arteezy's going to have his own blink in 1. Does he get the instant blink mount? No, he misses on both. The back too late. Arteezy heading back as quickly as possible. And now reinforcements arrive. They grab not only the Night Stalker, but far more importantly, the precious gem onto Zai.
That was the real price of that fight. Taking it off of them, being able to get some map control back is fairly significant because the Night Stalker, he's not a huge kill, but it's the gem that came with him that makes that so worthwhile. At the same time, it just creates a little bit more time. EHOME don't want to get into 4v5 fights, and while the Night Stalker's on the deck, they're going to wait for him to be able to come back and pressure the map again, and this is going to allow Arteezy to farm his own jungle for the first time in the game.
It's funny when you put it that way, but it really feels like it's come to that. Still, more space. He's down about 3k gold here in the enemy court, but Yasha's coming, and the big item that makes him far more difficult to take down is not unreasonably far away. It's the Manta. But to match this economy, EHOME continue to stay their own Ancients. They've been very consistent about farming these as well, and as a result, they're able to hold steady with the 8k, more like 9 to 10k gold lead, it looks like. Puppy also looking to farm his own with the medallion. Big item out now. It's going to be a blink on RTK. And the combo potential is there. Call down. You've got the side blades that could splat through. Maybe DDC steals a Requiem. That would be a dream if he could pull it off for EHOME.
For me, it just feels like the Death Ward from Kuro is going to be the huge game changer. We saw it in that last fight where he was able to keep it going the entire time. It was a large reason why EHOME didn't want to continue to commit. He's now bought himself a Ghost Scepter. Going to keep him alive for quite long in these fights.
Protects him from the TA, who normally just blinks in, melds, and then right-clicks him with Refraction. He's pretty much done for.
Yeah, he two-shots you. So.
Yeah, you need that Ghost.
It's a pretty clutch item. I am a little bit worried about Puppy, but he always has that Grave to rely on, and it's going to deter EHOME from just going in on him. But the next Roshan is going to be so huge, because with that Rosh, CTY is going to grab it, and they're just going to go all in. They're going to push wherever they can. They're going to have a lot of faith in the damage potential, and I don't really know what the game plan is for Secret at that point. If he gets that Aegis, if they're able to take down that tier 2 mid, I think that EHOME should be able to go for the high ground because they want to hit timing where RTZ still can't get enough fights. I think even with the Manta style, RTZ can get blown up by just the TA himself once this farmed.
We saw it from EG earlier today. They had fear on the split push. There was the amazing song from AUI that canceled 2 TPs. They held, and it was enough for EG to ultimately take the game. That one big fight. Now, for Secret, the big way to cancel TPs is a blink ball from Zai. So that could be where they make their stand. Is not even the actual head-on fight, but just the split push of the anti-mage.
Everyone from Secret right now is grabbing a Ghost Scepter, and I think this is a good plan.
Where's that diffusal blade?
You just want to extend the game and the team fights for as long as you possibly can. Zai blinks in, you can just call, pop your Ghost Scepter, and lead the fight around while your anti-mage picks off supports. That should be the game plan for Secret.
DDC, blink, back on net, immediate lift. Oh, the combo damage. S4 is a BKB, not using it. He pops his hastered, and that is enough. Well, CTY thinking it's not. Surged in, but they decide it's a bit too aggressive.
He's got a full Daedalus on the courier.
Yeah. Well, that's going to be trouble.
I thought he was super far before, but I didn't even see that.
Oh, that's what the net worth chart is for. This Daedalus complete. Could just walk right into the Roche pit, potentially. And that's what CTY is going to do. But the rest of the team doesn't seem like they're going to join him. He's chewing through this Roche. Oh boy, it's dropped
really need any help right now.
No.
Gonna hit level 19 with this. That far exceeds anybody on Team Secret.
Lanham just likes to watch, but now he's had enough of it.
Roshan has fallen to the dire.
Secret are deterred in their pressure top. Ortiz does shove the lane in. But EHOME distributing heroes wisely around the map. So they take the Roche, they don't give up any objectives. And now CTY back to the farm game, lacking a TP scroll. Maybe something Secret can play around here. I'm not sure what he could even drop for that. He's just going to be TP-less for now.
This is such a weird timing right now because EHOME, they're really strong. They don't really want to get picked off here because RTZ can just go for the split push. Every single time somebody from EHOME dies, RTZ just showed himself top, continues to go for the split push, but he has to be careful here at top.
This game has just turned into like hearing the blink sound every 5 seconds. Just blink, blink. Now you see me, now you don't. Now he's just waiting for the wave. Let's see, maybe one more wave, then he'll cut it. He knows that push that you mentioned could well be coming, and safest way to stop it is don't actually approach the creep wave, just hide in the trees. Take a page out of HY's book and then cut them off, only when truly necessary.
So he's going to go for the split push here. He absolutely has to. There's no real way for them to stop this EHOME push mid.
He's close to the Manta as well.
I'm not quite sure if that's enough, though, at this phase of the game, as CTY just deals a ton of damage, and he's got that Aegis that they have to deal with, too.
Oh, Kuro! That Ghost Scepter may well have been required if there was a crit coming in from the Daedalus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that just saved his life. It was a good high.
That felt like a Daedalus hit.
He's pretty happy about what just happened right there.
Here comes the creep cutting, and this is going to be the area where we see the most of our TZ, is just that kind of rim near the enemy side of the map. But uh-oh, somebody isn't so mobile. It's Puppey, trapped in the trees, will end up going down. Meanwhile, mid CTY, hoping that S4 dares to walk up the ramp. Oh, S4, DD room, BKB, no TP, no TP for S4, in trouble. There's the first trap, he could BKB out of the slow and try to man fight. He's gonna go for the Requiem, but no chance in hell. Even through the damage of the Requiem, and it was a lot, the double wreck, not enough.
Yeah, if you think at bottom, by the way, that was a bad move by Puppey, so Puppey, if anybody shows us in the lane to kill him, it's just free information for RTZ, because he knows guaranteed 2 heroes down there. One of them has that lockdown ability that he's afraid of before he has his Manta, and it allows him just TP top, split push that lane. It's almost like you just trade a support for information and farm on RTZ. Like, Puppey won't make a difference in this game anymore.
The Hell Bear Smashers now also trolling the waves. If RTZ can't do it, the creeps will provide the needed support. So they have to go in with a very minimal wave, just their own Satyr Tormentor here, and that's not going to help against the backdoor regen. But that's now a completed butterfly on ZYF. This is just getting ridiculous for EHOME. They've got to be frustrated by this, but still with the lead here. In fact, they've been increasing it. A 12k gold lead, a 12k experience lead. Still, despite how aggravating it must be, they're pulling ahead more and more.
Yeah, but this is what Secret want. Just continue to extend the game. Hope that EHOME overextend like they did last fight. And I don't know if they have it in them. If they overextend again, RTZ's just going to get so much space.
That's going to be like pretty much a butterfly or a basher after, or even close to an abyssal after one really bad fight.
Yeah, and with this lead, you can't really throw it away, especially when you got such a mobile hero.
They have the blink. Live to follow this up, fall down his weighty as well. They're going to immediately force out the blink. They couldn't quite get the silence off. RTZ could have manted it anyway. Zai finishing with his own blink call. He's not going to connect the urn, stopping a potential blink out. Now they silence him. Anti-Mage Illusions working on the carries here. Zion a bit of danger. S4 there to usher them away, but blinking forward. It's CTY the crit. Not coming out, but the back now. S4 graved a beautiful goal. And the deathward looking goal. Kuro with the damage. Not enough though. Now he's on the run too. S4 may also fall as RTK. CTY cutting off the path of retreat and executing Secret inside their own base. Heroics were attempted here, but Body still hitting the floor in numbers, and with the lone catapult mid, they may just try to high ground it now.
Oh, EHOME's just going to go for bottom.
They want bottom
right now. They realize even if S4 has a buyback, he can't really do anything with just 9 souls on it.
The time grows desperate. Where does Arteezy go? If he goes mid, there's a tier 2. There's a glitch. If he cuts the way bottom, it's too late. There's already a gigantic wave in here. There's no Requiem on Chesby, no BKB, no buyback either. They only have a buyback on the Witch Doctor who's locking a Death Ward. Secret just trying to force cut the wave, but it's really not going to matter. They can't actually threaten Rax here. They can't even threaten tier 3s. He blinks back towards mid, trying to prevent an additional lane of Rax from falling. But EHOME, they strike gold again. They get yet another objective, and they zero in on what would be a crushing upset if they can take this 2-0 from Team Secret.
And EHOME farming out the jungle. They're probably just going to wait out the next Roshan if they can. It's up in just 4 short minutes, and this is what Secret have to work with right now. If you don't take any tier 2's towers down, EHOME's not afraid. They realize, okay, we'll trade 2 or 3 creep waves for RTZ for a Rax every single time. What RTZ has to do is just force pressure on one of the tier 2 towers, take it down, so at worst it's trading Rax for Rax, but EHOME every single time deterring him. They save all of their tier 2 towers, so when they go for that death push, there's not a whole lot that he can do, and that's a free Rax for them, a 4-man team wipe to go with it, and CTY is just so farmed right now. He has a full MKB.
Nobody,
do they even have a butterfly? No, that's just a preventive measure.
RTC hasn't even picked up a component for a butterfly yet. Now, he could buy one, but butterfly, normally your go-to item to maximize the split push for the raw attack speed on your hero, and it does benefit the illusions a bit from the stats, but he's, I don't know. At this point, you're just not ban fighting CTY. That phase of the game feels over, barring an amazing team fight.
What scares me more for Secret, RTZ's doing his best to try to catch up, but S4 is just so underfarmed right now. It does look like he's got 6 slotted items, but they're just incredibly weak items. The mech has long outlived its usefulness. The Ring of Akala is the same.
Zai making me nervous here. Now the Blue Blink. S4 slaughtered. He can't even make a move. Oh, Jesus.
He does have the buyback, but it'll be with 11 souls.
He even walks into this. He's going to try to start the fight. There's the 2-0 call. Mana Void! Mana Void! Oh, he does end up going down. 800 gold going RTZ way. What a big fight for Secret. ROTK frantically scrambling. EHOME have to be nervous now. The call down comes in. Gyrocopter arriving and looking to hold the lines. Stand strong, men, but there's the Kuro Deathward from the high ground. Pounding into ZYF here. Back, turning it on RTZ. Can he win the fight? He looks to blink, but he's got no manta. And ZYF bails them out. Now the blink. Ion Shell, Kuro down. Even what the most miraculous fights, it pales in comparison to the raw damage output of EHOME. And without even a second of hesitation, RTZ insta buyback, purchases a basher. He won't have a second life for a very long time now.
That's ZYF in a nutshell. CTY, that's the guy we're talking about, but he just sneakily runs in. He's like, I also have 20k net worth. Did everybody forget about that? If you watch this post games, it's my bad completely. We haven't really talked about the fact that he's 10, 0, and 10 right now. We've focused so much on CTY. It's just absolutely stunning. He's almost got a full... he actually does have a full MKB complete. And I think Secret is in a similar situation. They all in to kill the TA without realizing there's just an equally net worth farm Gyrocopter waiting in the rear.
And he was late to the fight, too. He got there like 2 heroes were dead. Night Stalker was on the run. The Darkseer was just trying to get out as well. And, oh, hey, call down, Black Cannon. Get the hell out of here. Oh, EHOME now. I won't let the Aegis for a little bit of time, but it's about to respawn, it looks like. Just a minute or so. And there's no anti-mage by that. This means they can put with Aegis, with 2 ultra-farmed cores, and a Darkseer that outstrips the Axe and even the Shadow Fiend of S4. So basically 3 farmed cores on like 1.5. And Secret are just going to have to play picture-perfect Dota to have any chance of holding this.
Yeah, and S4 doing his best to try to catch up, but what real items is he going to go for? He could go for the butterfly, but you've got 2 heroes already countering it before it even comes out. A Satanic could help, but then he'd be left with 0 damage. I don't really see what item he's going to get to really change this game. Like, he would need a minimum of 2, maybe an AC plus the Satanic. Then he would have the damage to back it up, but...
Or at least to be a threat to the support, if nothing else, in these fights.
Arteezy, he's caught out
he
here.
just put back. Oh, he's thrown to the low ground. That's pretty fortunate. Now the turn. Arteezy, 1 auto attack blinking out, but it's Zai who's left behind. Zai in a bit of trouble. Can he make his way out? There the Ghost Scepter desperately hanging on, but going back in! Arteezy! He charged in again. It'll pay with his life, and with no Arteezy, this is going to be nigh impossible for Secret. Massacred under the blazing guns of ZYF and CTY's endless crit. There's another EHOME! EHOME! EHOME have done it. They 2-0 Secret, and they move forward here in the winner bracket. A shocker for Secret and fans around the world. But what a solid showing it was.
I mean, EHOME took care of business. Neither of those games even looked particularly close. In the first game, Secret had the advantage, but EHOME staying strong in that second game. I mean, I thought Secret was going to bounce back to try in a dominant game 2, but EHOME, from start to finish, the lane